Happy Self-Love Sunday. I am Moe Sass, the host of Self-Love Sundays with Sass. I am a certified life coach who comes every single Sunday to talk about ways in which we can better our best. So today I want to talk to you about thought, frequency, and magnetism. And why I want to talk about this is because so many people, talk about how thoughts become things, but it's really, really true because what you think about sends out a signal into the universe. And then the more you think about it, the more you attract that to you. So my question for you today is, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? Because our lives and everything that's in it is a direct result of us, no one else. It's the things that we've thought about, the things we have or haven't taken action on, because our thoughts truly become things. So the more you think about something, right? We talk about frequency. The more you think about it, the more you draw it into you. That's when you become a magnet, right? So if the more we think about something, the more we draw it into us. I want to ask you, what thoughts do you need to clean up? What is it that you need to clean up? Because what you're thinking about, let's talk about in terms of money. So if you are thinking about all the time how much you don't have, guess what happens? You just keep not having. It's the lack mentality. The more you think in lack, the more lack you produce. Okay? So think about this for a second. When you say something bad, it's generally gonna happen, and then bad things start happening, and then you're like blaming everybody else and blaming the universe. It's like, okay, what were you thinking about? Because the more you think about something, the more you worry about something, and then it comes to pass, and you're like, well, what happened? Well, your thoughts become things. So if your thoughts can become things on the lower vibration scale, which is that lack mentality, which is the resentment, the anger, the bitterness, the jealousy, if it can become that on the lower vibrational scale, then guess what? If you start thinking about more positive things, if you start thinking from an abundant standpoint, guess what will happen? More abundance will come to you. A lot of times I'm sitting and I'm working with clients and they're just not understanding like why things aren't working out. And then once we start digging into it deeper and deeper, what we find is most times things are not working because they're always thinking about the worst of things. What if it doesn't happen? Or what if I fail? How about what if you succeed? What if there is an abundance of health, wealth, love, and joy that you can create in your life? What if because life is going to happen to us all, but what if when life happens to you, you say, you know what, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me, and that, this lesson can become a blessing if you choose to think about it that way. The more you ever listen, it's so real. There's been times that I've sat around and I thought about people, you just think about something, and all of a sudden my phone is ringing. And I'm like, right? And we think it's coincidental. It really isn't. Your thoughts emit a signal out into this world. The more you think about a thing, the more it tends to happen. And it's so real because if people really understood the power of the spoken and the written word, you would watch your mouth. I was out to dinner with my girlfriend last night and we were talking about this. I was like, do you notice? Because, she's known me for a very, very long time and I love her to death. We were talking about purpose and being driven and the things that we're going to create in this world and how the vision, like whenever I'm telling you, I'm going to stop for 1 second. Listen, it's so important for you to be intentional with your relationships. I'm telling you, I'm so intentional about my relationships. If we're not talking about, walking in vision and purpose and, in that abundance, I'm not really fooling with you. It becomes important. Why? Thoughts become things. If we're sitting around and we're talking about lack and lower vibration and talking about people and gossip, and guess what? I'm staying in that lower vibration. But we were talking about, our vision and how we saw ourselves and what we see for ourselves. And this is just so important, y'all, because I said to her, you notice that I don't talk about people anymore? Because I did. I'm never going to I'm never going to talk and speak as if I'm above, okay? Like it's above me now. No, real talk. I used to gossip about people. I used to have bad things to say about people. When you listen, because things get on my nerve. People get on my nerve, aka people piss me off. And I know that's not a nice thing to say, but it's real. They do. But what I found in that is to learn something from it and maneuver myself differently. I can't change how they're going to talk. I can't change how they're going to react. I can't change how they're going to be. But I can certainly work on myself. And I'm not perfect. Real talk, I'm not perfect. But at the end of the day, I can recognize how I can move in a situation differently. Because what we talked about in this is that my response is different because I'm being aware of who is showing up. And it's just like, I'm telling you, everything tied in together because I was on a woman's call and we were talking about, what is the one thing that we need to work on. And I talked about how I can recognize when my 16-year-old self shows up to battle. And my 16-year-old self was fierce. You understand me? When she shows up, I'm telling you, move out the way because I don't know whether it's going to be her mouth or her hands, right? But I had to, as a grown adult, recognize who's showing up in conversation. And again, when we're talking and we're two grown women and we're talking about other people and we're down to other people, who's really showing up? Is this my adult self, right? Or is this my trauma response and my childhood me showing up to gossip about other people? And I was like, what I realized is as I started walking more into my spiritual light, that the power of my words are important. Like what you speak over people, what you speak about people is important. What am I saying to you? Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Real talk. Watch it. Somebody needs to hear. Watch what you say. It's so important. I didn't really realize a lot of things before. And what do I mean by the more I walk in spiritual? What I mean by that is I always tell people I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. That means I have a personal relationship with God. That means I'm tuning in touch with him more often than not. That means I read the word every single day. And what I've come to learn in reading and in being in touch with my higher source is words have power, y'all. You don't believe me? Let's talk about bullying for a second. Because most times bullies are not beating you up with their fists. It's their words. Bullying people on social media with their word. Your words that you speak are powerful. So we talk about it again. Thoughts become things. The more you think about it, right? The more that tends to come true. It's so important to watch your mouth. Mind what matters. Are you more worried about what other people are doing, saying, believing, than minding what you're thinking and doing as a result of? I need you to think about that for a second. Some of you, I'm just going to tell y'all today. Sometimes I get like this, I'm just going to tell you. I don't have time to play today. Some of you need to get out of God's business and get into your business. Some of you are on here worried about the war. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be aware, but more worried about the war, gas, what this celebrity is doing, what that person is doing, how they're speaking, who they're with, gossiping. You so busy worried about that instead of understanding that the most that you can do in this situation right now is pray for other people. But if you really want to see change, if you really want to see change in this world, then it starts with you minding your business and getting out of God's business. What are you doing? What are you doing? What actions are you taking to better your life, personal development? How are you investing in yourself, personal development, therefore investing into your family to create change? This is how things change. But you don't have no change over what's happening with Russia and Ukraine right now. That's God's business. So pray about that. You don't have no control over what's happening in somebody else's home. Pray about that. Get out of God's business and get into your business. You are Miss Busybody, Mr. Busybody, and everything want to fix and solve everybody else's problem. Meanwhile, your whole world is crumbling. You don't have an abundance of anything but somebody else's business. You live in check to check, gossiping about somebody else. How does this make sense, y'all? Come on, let's talk about it. What are you thinking about? What are you putting out in this world? Therefore, what's coming back to you? Are you in the negative space all the time? I'm telling you, I scroll through social media because, part of what I do is on social media. So I'm aware, I'm looking at the trends, seeing what's going on, and I scroll past people who spew out so much negativity, always trying to warn people about this and that. But then when you step back and you look at them, their lives is a hot mess. And you wonder why, because you're putting out a hot mess. How about step back? Get with yourself. Work on yourself. Clean up your mindset. Real talk, clean up your mindset. Thoughts become things. What are you thinking about? And why are you thinking that way? Somebody messaged me. This is so deep, y'all. Somebody messaged me the other day, because, a part of being a life coach, sometimes people message me about things, and she wanted to ask me, and I don't know if she's watching this, but, I'm real, boo. She was asking me if she was making a mountain out of a molehill about something. And it was pertaining to another person. But the way she started telling, instead of just telling me the issue, right, the problem, okay, she started to describe the person who was a part of it. And the way she was describing this person, she started telling me some nasty things about the person. I don't even know this lady. And instantly, when my response to it is, hey, why are you telling me something about somebody in that manner that I don't even know? What is it that you need me to see about her to make what you're about to say right? Because most times that's what we're doing. When you enter in a conversation with somebody, you looking for advice, if you're really looking for advice, because most people are looking for confirmation and really not correction, right? So if you start to describe the person and you got to belittle them and talk about them in such a bad way, really and truly, you just looking for agreement because you had to tell that person's business. But what if it was switched around and we had to tell your business? Like, come on, y'all, think about this stuff. What are we doing here? I could have heard the story and instantly said, okay, but why are we looking at it that way? What is the personal angst with the person? Or is that person emitting something back to you that you don't like about yourself? Come on, y'all. I just have to ask questions today. Thoughts become things. And be careful with the words that you speak. Words can make or break people. Come on, listen. I'm an adult now. So there's things that people have said to me that have crushed my spirit. Crushed my spirit coming up. Words are important. Mind your words. Mind your thoughts. Because most times the things you're speaking out of your mouth the way you are is because the things that you are thinking. The words that you are speaking is a result of the way you are thinking. And then you wonder why nobody wants to be bothered with you or nobody wants to be around you. Because you are the negative person. You are the person that spews hate. You are the person that's always gossiping about somebody. You are the person that when you walk in, it's like, here comes the Debbie Downer. You are the person that makes everything about you. You are the person that sees from a lack mentality. But we don't want to be honest. I had to be honest with myself. I had to really sit myself in the mirror and like, okay, what's up with you? Like, I can look across the room and talk about a bunch of people, but what's up with you? What's up with your thoughts? What's up with the way you're moving? Right? Everybody want to talk about Judas and how he betrayed Jesus. But no one wants to talk about how you betray people on a day-to-day basis by the way you talk about them. Real talk. You betray people every day. Number one, I talked about my girlfriend with this last night. How are you betraying yourself? You cannot continue to betray yourself and expect a different outcome. I'm going to hit somebody in the gut today because it was a gut punch to me. I was talking about, with a coach of mine, how one of my relationships ended up. And she was like, all right, well, run me through the beginning. And I was like, well, from the beginning, I kind of saw this and that. And she said, oh, you had core values, right? Character traits that you said were non-negotiable. But you decided to negotiate on it in the beginning of the relationship. So technically, you betrayed yourself. So what are you crying about? You already knew what it was from the door. What are you crying about? You said that you were looking for these characteristics in a man. You already knew what your non-negotiables were. But you negotiated. And now you're crying? You betrayed yourself. How many of you are betraying yourselves on a daily basis and then upset at the result that you get? That's the definition of insanity. And I had to realize I was the insane one. And then I'm mad at my partner. I'm mad at my ex. Why? I had to get with myself. You already saw it. You already knew. How many of you are betraying yourselves on a day-to-day basis? You worried about other people, but you're not loving you. You don't think you're worthy. You don't think you're good enough. So you're negotiating your values. Every single day, you're betraying yourself. How many of you, I'm telling you, man, it's all tying in. I'm sitting here and like, oh man, because even this morning, I was on a call, we were talking about values. How many of you are betraying yourself for a check? When he said that, I was like, yo, it's so real. How many of you are betraying yourself for a check? Do anything to get the money, never realizing that if you just level up yourself, personal development, work on your core of who you are, work on your mindset, work on your spiritual, work on your nutritional, work on your body, that you don't have to chase a dollar. That dollar's going to chase you. But so many of you out here will sell your soul to the devil for $1. Use people. When I talk about selling your soul to the devil, how many of you using somebody for their money? Using somebody for a come up. Only want to talk to them when you want something. Looking for a handout as opposed to a hand up. Like real talk, y'all. We talk about people betraying us, but you betraying yourself. You know what it is. You got big dreams, big hopes, and you're around people who don't have a half of a dream, and holding on to a half of a hope, and then you faulting them. Like, nah, this is on you because you know what it is, but you refuse to move, all because there's some fear there. There's fear of success. Are we gonna be honest today? There's fear of worth. Why are you not moving? Why are you staying small? Why are you playing small? Thoughts become things. You're a sum total of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. What are y'all talking about? Because whatever you're talking about is what you're thinking about. And then you wonder why life is not moving on your behalf. I promise you, y'all, I'm not just talking this either. I want you to understand something. Going from welfare to where I am now, burying 2 sons. One I gave birth to at 6 months. He took one breath and passed away. I was almost 6 months pregnant. And then another one murdered at 25, right? All these things were happening around me. And I still chose to take that pain and purpose it. And you think I'm the only one that can do that? No, you can too. I'm no different than any of you. But you have to take the steps to want to do that. You have to get help I had to get help. Who you surrounding yourself with? I could have very easily quit. I could have very easily gave up. But what I did was, I'm going to tie this together. I got out of God's business, started minding my business, worked on me, grew me, and said, how can I take this? How can I take this? Because I had no control over that, and turn this into a blessing for somebody else. Like real talk. I had to get a system around me. Spiritual people, spiritual coaches, life coaches, therapists. I had to go to grief therapy. Like to help, follow me, y'all, to help with my mindset. So my thoughts became different. So the what I frequently think about now is the abundance of all that is possible in this world. Not that I don't believe in the impossible anymore. Why? Because I'm in tune and touch with my higher power. And he said, he said, all things are possible to them that believe. Do you understand me? So those are my thoughts. And every single day, so I'm gonna give you something tangible to do with it. How am I able to keep that thought? When I wake up in the morning, the very first thing I do is meditate. Come on, y'all. First thing in the morning. I said, first of all, I'm gonna back up. I say thank you. I meditate. I write down 10 times each my goal, because I have a vision for my life, right? I write down my goals 10 times. I'm constantly working and feeding my mind. I listen to then positive, most times it's gospel music. Why? Lift my spirits. Then it's like I have my own little worship session. Then I get into the word. I read the word every single day. Then I go to accountability call. Why? I want people to hold me accountable for the things that I said I want in my life. I realize that community is everything. So I'm surrounding myself with a beautiful community of people. People who are about abundance. I'm not saying that it's perfect. What I'm saying is that I'm feeding my mind, right? Because I realize that my thoughts can actually become the things. There's so many things that I thought about that's happening in my life right now. And here's the thing, my clients is doing it too. It rubs off on people when you surround yourself with the right people, positive people, uplifting people. Come on, y'all. Thoughts become things, the things you think about frequently. If you think it's not going to be possible, it's not. Period. If you think you can't have the love of your life, you can't. If you think you can't have abundance of love and joy, you can't. It's true. Whether you can or can't, it's up to you. It's up to you making a decision to say, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to get me a therapist. I'm going to get me a life coach. I'm going to invest in me. See, you think you handing somebody money. Come on. You think somebody's selling you something. I don't sell nothing. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you that those who made that decision to invest in their personal development, those who made a decision to invest in their mental health, they're thriving. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you my people are no longer in that survival mode. I'm telling you I'm no longer in that survival mode. I'm thriving in these streets. But I made the decision to invest in myself, and I still do. I just literally paid for another program today. So I invest. Y'all gotta listen. I invest $1,000 in myself. My rate of return, $5,000. Are you following? Thoughts become things. What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about investing in myself, growing myself, because the more I grow myself, the more I can serve in this world. The more I can make change. Y'all sitting around waiting for the world to change and waiting for God, and the world is waiting for you, and God's waiting on you. I said this last week. Thoughts become things, the frequency. That's what's magnetizing to you. And I'm going to say this to you. Check your heart. I said it last week. Because some people be like, well, I'm in the word. You quoting scripture, but you're not obedient. I said what I said. You just like, are you, to read it for what? If you're not going to read the word and move in it and have faith in it and believe, close it. I don't care what you call your word. I don't care if it's the Bible, the Quran, whoever. I told you guys all the time, it's not for me to tell you who to call your God. If you're reading it, but you're not letting it renew your heart, you still got a hardened heart. You're still living in resentment. You're still living in anger. You're still gossiping. You're still talking about people. What are you doing? So if you move and you say you move in that direction, but things are not changing, I'm gonna need you to check something. And I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna need you to get somebody else around you. Get you a coach. To help you see the blind spots. That's another reason why I got coached. I have blind spots. I can't see. So I'm gonna tie this together real quick. Thoughts become things. Mind your thoughts. Mind your business. Get into your business, aka your mindset, your mind, your spirit, your body, what you feed it. Get into you. Get out of God's business. And watch how your world changes. www.moessass.com. Life Coaching with Sass on Instagram and Facebook. Moe Sass on YouTube. Reach out to me if you're ready to go to the next level, reach out. And I hope you have the most amazing, amazing Sunday, and I'll talk to you next week.